Hello and welcome to Sheepdog Says. I'm Sheepdog and I'm doing a back-to-back video here. You might notice my pose hasn't changed from yesterday's video. My clothes haven't changed at all. The reason I'm doing that is because tomorrow's my wedding anniversary and I thought it'd be really nice to not break the evening apart by doing a video in the middle of it. Not that you're a burden or anything. I just thought I can devote the full evening to having a takeaway, watching a film, chilling out with my wife and just enjoying the fact we've been married for 9 years. That is insane. I thought it'd be a good opportunity to talk about that a little bit. I know I've spoken about some of the bits like proposing and things like that, but you know, getting married and being married it's a weird old thing. I mean, I remember telling her that I probably didn't ever want to get married because I'd seen it in Friends and thought it was a good way to throw her off the scent. It had the exact same outcome that Friends had, in that she thought, oh, I thought we were really serious. We've been together for years. I'm a bit disappointed he doesn't want to get married, and she was a bit miffed. I shouldn't follow things that happened in Friends, or if I do, I should watch the whole episode before I do it. I remember going swimming with her one day and swimming up and down arranging our wedding, even though I had not proposed, we hadn't talked about it. I think that was the reason I decided to throw her off the scent, was we'd gone swimming, we'd been talking about who we'd invite, where we'd have it. I had said we had to have it in Grays because a good host always goes where his guests are, and most of the guests were going to be in Grays, and I kind of thought there's no point I was trying to drag sort of 50, 60 people up from down south when the 30 odd people that she was friends and family with would have to travel quite far to get here anyway and could go the extra few miles. I think where we live in Deeping, there's like 10 of us now with the kids, maybe if that, whereas at that point there was 5 of us. And so I was kind of like, why would we have it in Peterborough where there's 5 of us when we could have it in Essex where there's pretty much everyone and we could just travel down? And she agreed, she relented. It actually worked out quite well because by that point we were staying at my mum's anyway to save for the wedding, because what we basically did is I proposed. We worked out how we could afford it all. We planned this elaborate, massively over the top holiday to Mexico. It was like first class flights. It was gonna be like drinks on arrival at the airport. It was gonna be like fancy meals, everything. That if they said, "Do you want to add this?" I was just like, "Yeah, add it, sort it, yep, add it, want it, grab it, do it, have that." And we did all this. We went a bit nuts. It was one of those where I thought, if I carry on like working, because I was working in like insurance sales, if I carry on saving like this, we'll have enough money to just go nuts. And I just thought, I don't care, I'm going to go for it. And then we had a conversation where my wife basically said, look, we better start trying for kids now because it's going to take us years. It's one of those things that it doesn't happen straight away. So if we start trying now, in a year's time, we can start getting support if we need it, blah, blah, blah. About 2 months in, she's suddenly pregnant. I'm looking at how much that's going to cost versus how much the wedding's going to cost. And I'm suddenly going, take that off, give me that back, cancel that. No, I don't want that, take that back. No, put that away, cancel the honeymoon. We managed to still do everything at the wedding that we wanted to do, but the Mexico holiday with first class and everything, complete role reversal. I think we'd paid £100 on a deposit and they refused to give it back. And then I think I mentioned this before. I said to them, we'll move it to another holiday. And they were like, well, we're going to move it to Alicante in September. And I was like, whatever, I don't care. I'm not going to do the holiday anyway. And then they sent me a letter in July saying, this is like miles after the wedding, saying, we're going to remove the lunches from your flights to Alicante in September. And I rang up like, how dare you? You can't change the contract now. I want that food. I want that lunch. How dare you cancel that, you monsters? And they were like, fine, we'll give you a refund. Got me £100 back. I was like, woo. But back to the wedding. We had this whole kind of, let's save. Do you know what would be really easy? If we didn't have to rent a house, we could save even more money and pay this wedding off. So we ended up moving with my mum and dad and saving up for all of that there. I mean, they helped out massively. Our family helped out massively. But it was weird. I remember my mum and dad basically converted their bedroom into a room for me and my wife to live in. We had my daughter while we were living down there. New Year's Eve, we went into hospital, come back out the next day, and that basically meant that we had one room that was our entire flat, and we turned their kitchen into another living room where we had a TV set up. I used to watch the baby and stuff like that. Our first 5-6 months of marriage were basically living in this kitchen and living in this bedroom, while I got labyrinthitis and couldn't balance. It was ridiculous. I was ill for the whole of, I think, January and February of my daughter's first 2 months of life, I was ill. So at this point, this is before we got married. So we got married in May 2nd, obviously, because that's the day the video's coming out. But for, I think we moved into my mum and dad's in September, saved until we had to pay the wedding off, which was like, I don't know, March time. From January to February, I was just unable to move and had like 4 weeks off work ill. I basically got to the point where we'd just about paid off the wedding, and I decided I didn't want to do my job anymore. I think I'd applied for some jobs up in Peterborough and didn't want them. I decided I wanted to go to uni after a conversation with my sister, because I thought I'll make something of myself. It'll be great. I'll get a career. I was like, I've got a family now. We're living in my mum's spare bedroom and kitchen. I'm bumbling around like a moron. I'm going to go get a degree. So I stopped doing any work. I mentioned that before, I know, until they basically sacked me, because I realised I'd had like 5 weeks off sick. I'd used all my holiday when the baby was born. I'd geared everything around the wedding and that. And I basically got to a point where I was like, I can't really just leave. They're going to charge me. So I basically did a bit of a go slow until they said get out. I remember ringing my wife to say, I'm really sorry, but, you know, it's probably a bit of a surprise. Don't want to stress you out. I've been sacked. She cried her eyes out, bless her, because she thought I'd ruined everything. I explained to her the wedding was already paid for. It was fine. I'll just look for a job. I didn't look for a job. I just basically refused to get a job till September that year. But the wedding was great, as all weddings are. We did lots of presents and stuff. We had already had all the furniture and stuff we needed. So we just spent that time having a good old, you know, shindig and having fun, and I enjoyed being with my daughter for the first 8 months of her life. It was awesome. But I definitely felt low about the whole, I've just got married and I've got no job, I'm going to be a student, we've got a kid, absolute mess of a situation. It was mad. And I look at that and I think that was year one, was just he's basically stopped working and become a bit of a mess. I imagine anyone who didn't know me on Claire's side of the family was just like, oh my God, this guy is a monster. As a side note, I would say anybody who's considering going to university but is worried about like life getting in the way, or I don't know, if you're about to have a kid and you're worried about how the hell you're going to afford it, I tell you what, the first 3 years of her life I was a student. The first 4 years of her life I was a student, because I trained to be a teacher. You get student finance, you get more if you've got a kid. You also get childcare help, which you don't get when you're working. So it meant that for the first 4 years of my daughter's life, she was in childcare the whole way through, and then she went to school. It was a shock when Bosco was born and we have to spend half of our monthly income on childcare. Now the baby's here, we have to spend over £500 a month on childcare. That was free when I was a student. If you're worried about having, balancing having kids and being a student at university, that's the time to bleeding well do it, because my God, I did 3 years as a student. I got more money then than I did in my first job as a teacher. I left my PGCE, started teaching, and was like, oh my God, I've taken an $8,000 pay cut to be here. I know it's all student debt and stuff like that, but I look back at that period, the 4 years, the first 5 years of my marriage to my wife was me not doing anything for a year, then becoming a student and legitimately not doing anything for 3 years, then training to be a teacher and kind of doing stuff most of the week, but and then when I got a job, it started to become a problem because I was so stressed. I used to lock myself in a room and do all my teaching stuff until like 1 a.m. My kids would look over a little fence that we had between their room and my room, and they'd be like, hi Dad, and I'd be like, I can't talk, I'm working at the moment, tapping away doing my work. And they'd be like, oh, just want to tell you I love you. And I'd be like, all right, I love you too, see you later, tap, 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 tap. And I look back at that and think that was probably the worst period. The period when I had a full-time, genuine job, when I was working really hard and trying to deliver for my family. I never saw them, not at all. I had the holidays off, but I was so cripplingly tired. I remember, and it's not very masculine to say it, and that's a shame, and I'm not ashamed to say it, but I remember having a day off one day, I think it was like a Sunday, and going out shopping for the day with my family, and on the way back, breaking into tears because I'd basically spent the whole day just wandering around shops, and I thought, I'm going to get home, I have to lesson plan, go to bed, work again till Saturday night, go to bed, have the next Sunday off. This is the only time I see anybody, and I've spent it wandering around shops. And I remember just thinking, this isn't the life for me. It was a mess. And it took me, it would have been year 6 of my marriage. When I got this job where I am now, the things finally felt like they were actually getting on track. I kind of got that job. we felt like we had enough money to do what we wanted to do. We had a good year and everything of just spending lots of money and doing lots of stuff. And then we started saving to buy this house that we live in. And I'd learned to drive and got a car. Sorry, there's a guy looking out of his bedroom window right at me. I feel like he knows I'm recording and he's... I don't know, it's weird recording with an audience live. Stop looking at me. He's gone. Sorry. But it's only now I feel like we're a settled kind of married family that I'm not a little bit ashamed of the drama or the fecklessness and that sort of thing. I go to work now and it's all good. I've had obviously health things. I left teaching and was just ill for, well, the whole time pretty much. I look at this, I've been married to my wife for 9 years. I was ill for the first few months, unemployed, student, PGCE, teacher, never saw them. Left because I was stressed, got a job, was on antidepressants for the next couple of years. Hang on a minute, how have I got this many years? I've not added this up right, something's gone wrong here. This is year 9. Okay, so I was on antidepressants for all of them. I'm finally now on medication. That means I should be fine. I'm at year 9 and I'm thinking it's taken me this long to get to a point where I think, right, I'm earning well, I'm healthier now, I'm doing stuff now, I've got a house. I feel like that is ridiculous. But at the same time, I feel like if she looked back, she's had a good time of it. She's had a good 9 years. It's just mad to think that that's how much time has gone. In that time, we have managed 3 kids. We've managed 3 different houses. I think she's had probably 3 or 4 different cars. I've had 2 cars in that time because the first car I had broke down after a month. I've had too many jobs to handle, to think about, but I've had the same one for the longest ever now. I'm happy in this one. It's just so weird. Marriage is an odd journey, and I'm very excited that this is year 9. We're coming out to our 10th year next year. I feel like hopefully that's, the poo is below. We've done the foundation now, and everything above is building on that. I'm hoping that we can start, saving for old age. I don't know, looking at the kids going to university in 10 plus years time, however old they are, sort of thing. I want to take them on holiday this year. That's like someone said to me, why are you trying to go on a big holiday this year? Should you not be whatevering and blah, blah, blah? And I'm like, no, this year, it's been 9 years of marriage. It's been 13 or 14 years of being together. We've been on 2 foreign holidays and probably 5 holidays in that whole time. This year, I need to be taking that woman on an amazing big holiday because we didn't get the honeymoon one. We went to Centre Parks and she crippled herself on the first day, bless her. She did an abseiling thing and got so hurt she spent the next 4 days in bed pretty much. And not in a good way before anybody starts going, she was injured. me and Lampup just watched telly by a fireplace for most of the week. But no, I always feel like it goes without saying marriage is awesome. People say to me, what's it like being married? And I'm like, it is genuinely great. I'm so glad I did it. Some people say I did it a bit young, but I mean, I was 22, I think, if that works out right. 23 maybe. It must have been 23. But no, I feel like I did it at the right age because it's all about learning. It's all about getting all the crap out of the way first. It's all about bumbling along. Your 20s are the time to be happy scraping by. You don't want to be in your 30s and 40s trying to do all the stuff we did when we were that age. You don't want to be at this age now and you're suddenly figuring out how the hell you're going to balance your cushy life where you're spending all your money on yourself and now you've got to spend it on somebody else. I'm quite excited that in 4 years' time, the baby will be old enough that we won't have this £500 a month hole where childcare goes. That'll be amazing. That's when you'll suddenly see me wearing solid gold glasses and a gold hat and gold shoes because I suddenly won't have that massive bill hanging over me. I don't know why I can't just strap him to myself and he can just learn while I work. He could know all about account management and bid management and stuff like that rather than childcare. Anyway, I've gone off on a bit of a tangent. Thank you very much for watching. I'm excited that it's our 9-year anniversary today while you're watching this. My mother-in-law got us a box of chocolates, which I'm excited to try out because it looks like the Lily O'Briens. I don't know who that is. I wonder if it's Mrs. O'Brien, who used to live near my nan and granddad when I was younger. She had a little West Highland Terrier. I don't even know if she's still alive. She'd be about 90, 100 if she was, but I wonder if she made them. Anyway, that's enough from me. Give me a like, a subscribe, a comment. let me know what's going on with you. I was going to say let me know when your anniversary is, but that's a bit of a random one. Just tell me about marriage. What's it like? How are you finding it? I'm loving it. It's good. Hopefully it stays this good. Hopefully I continue to get better every year, because I feel like I am like a fine wine. I started off absolute urine in year one, and at this point I feel like I'm probably just about drinkable now. So in 20 years I could be... I don't know why I did that. Thanks for watching.